I know some of you are going to say, Hal, why are you playing this guy next? He's made promises and they never come true. And if what he was saying was true at all, he'd be dead by now because of what he believes. But I think we have to give him one more chance, ladies and gentlemen. We need to see if Alex Jones is right about this. Apparently, this is medical tyranny alert. Biden administration is preparing for something, to declare a national emergency and lockdown 2.0 in response to bird flu pandemic. The pandemic. See what he did there with the planning and plan and pandemic. Like it was not an accident. It didn't just happen. They've been working on it for a long time. Now I know what you're thinking. Surely he's not going to say it's between now and inauguration as a way to punt the inauguration and not have it. And I would say yes, and that's exactly what he's saying. And stop calling me Shirley.
How would you like to piss like a racehorse on command?
I do.
My name is Michael.
Hi, Michael.
2 years ago, I suffered from an enlarged...
What the fuck?
The globalist COVID tyrants are making their move again. But this time, the people of the world are awake and are standing up against it.
What? Standing up against what? What? Logical preparedness against a possible infectious disease that may or may not become an issue. So
the last 5 years of their criminal power grab has already blown up in their face.
Well, then why do I have to be afraid of them if they fucked up that? They had COVID and they screwed the pooch on that. They couldn't even take over the world when COVID gave them the perfect, context by which to do it. Why the shit? Why do I care? Apparently, the Illuminati are a bunch of pussies. They can't do anything right. You've been scaring the shit out of all of us for all this time, and apparently these fuckwads are completely incapable of world domination. It's pitiful.
But they're so desperate, they have no other moves to make and are trying to run the same play again.
Why? No moves to make. Don't they control DARPA and like fucking Jewish space lasers and I don't know. What are you at the ice wall on flat Earth or something? Don't they? That's the fake pandemics are their only go-to now. They're as repetitive and boring as you are.
This is going to be their Waterloo.
Or Snowloo, I guess.
Get the facts and raise the alarm to the people of the world now.
I hate shooting this myself on my fucking phone. Sparks was right. My free speech hasn't been curtailed. I just suck at this. It won't. I think my thumb is cold and it won't stop recording. I feel like a grandma trying to take a picture. Why am I in the frame? I'm not on the right side of the... Oh, hold on. I'll switch the camera. All right. Oh, shh.
Don't forget.
I didn't. I remembered. What was I supposed to remember?
This point's got to be made over and over again.
Well, I guess so, because I guess we all forgot it.
Just 2 weeks ago, they tried in the big spending bill to add draconian civil emergency martial law provisions for a new pandemic.
Sorry, top COVID lawyer exposes spending bill as pandemic power grab framework. The bill expands powers for mask mandates, vaccine passports, emergency health powers, gain of function research, and legal immunity for mRNA gene therapy vaccine manufacturers. What the fuck is a top COVID lawyer? What did he sue the virus? And of course, everybody knows that guy is not checking someone's temperature. That's a special gun. That is basically the COVID version of that Vietnam picture of the guy getting his brains blown out.
And
also, bodies, the fuck out of here. Bodies? Ew.
Tens of billions of dollars more to fund their operations. That failed. because the public is awake and because Trump supporters and Elon Musk and our listeners and others put.
That same shit was in there. That didn't change. The same bill passed. I know what you're talking about.
Pressure on them.
They didn't take it out. Any of the COVID stuff and like regular pandemic preparedness shit was in the disaster part of the bill. It didn't get taken out.
And shot down the legislation. The UN Global Treaty has failed. But they've come out and said, don't worry, a new pandemic's coming. Bill Gates, Hotez, all of them. And that will teach you to get in line and do what they say.
Why? Because it's a real disease and people start dying? Is it a bioweapon or is it a fake disease? If it's a fake disease and everything you said COVID wasn't, then how would that motivate anybody? How do you scare the shit out of people with a hoax that doesn't actually kill people? And if they do have something that's killing people, let's say they release a bioweapon into, I'm gaming this out with you, fuckwad. They release a bioweapon into the public that's killing people. Wouldn't taking every precaution not to catch that bioweapon be a smart move? Wouldn't you mask up just against the globalist conspiracy to poison you? Dum-dum? What is this? What are you trying to do? Just get people to like march in blindly into a hail of bullets in the name of maggot freedom or something? What the fuck?
What did Trump do last year when I raised the alarm and when this great audience of activists raised the alarm about them trying to roll out the mpox, the new monkeypox,
because the old monkeypox didn't work very well at all. They tried to roll it out. Yeah, you guys punched it in the dick. Yeah, Alex Jones and his supporters urinated all over the plandemic of monkeypox like they did the toddlers' graves after Sandy Hook. Yeah, you guys put that fire out with your patriotic piss. What? You did nothing. It's just normal life. And I got to tell you, this fucker's business model does have a streak of genius to it. It's got this, he's able to, like, you take something normal that pretty much, if you look at it as a logical human being, you go, like Ebola or something like that, and you're like, okay, it has to pass by direct blood contact. That's a kind of a disease, unlike an airborne virus, that's much harder to pass. And so they tend to, like, grow quickly and recede. As soon as people are onto it, they can end it. So you can extrapolate, like, okay, we had an Ebola breakout, 12 people got sick, and half of them, were in deep shit, and maybe one died. But it's not going to spread because it takes a lot for it to spread. And so he can just take that normal story and overlay on top of it that I warned everybody and they stopped the Ebola virus from spreading everywhere because our team worked together with our people that are in the deep state, not the good deep state, the white hat deep state that run almost everything else, that the people who run everything don't feel like running or whatever. We moved in there and we stopped it cold in its tracks. Like, you mean it's almost impossible for it to take off because if it was easier, it would have happened already a dozen times.
Bird flu and the rest of it. We said we've got to get ahead of this and expose it. Trump came out and said they're doing this so they can have mail-in ballots coming up the election.
Which didn't happen.
Exposed it. It failed. So we attacked the PCR.
December 30th. Lockdown 2.0 is here. Biden administration planning to declare a bird flu national emergency to sabotage the incoming Trump administration. Must watch / share. Because, if... why would they stop if just like Alex Jones InfoWars viewers were screaming about it? Because these motherfuckers scream about everything and none of it pans out. Like, who even if you were on to someone, would they give a shit? Because they could get away with it because by the time they could just go, these assholes are just making shit up. They always talk about it. Remember when he said this and remember when he said that? It's garbage. And then they do it. And then by the time you figure it out, you're already dead from it, whatever. That would be the thing. Like, if they're really in control, you wouldn't be able to stop them at all. That's why this is garbage. The fact that the way that your big solution is somebody's going to share your fucking, like, newsletter. Fuck me.
Test it's a fraud. Notice Birx was on national TV saying we've got to have the PCR test. You know, we've got to create the fear. We've got to go out and test people and claim it's jump.
Also, why would you need the fear? I mean, I get it. I mean, the greater scheme of this whole thing, but if it's not there anyways, then even if they try to create the fear, it'll extrapolate into people will just ignore it and nobody will die, and it'll just undermine. I mean, this would be the way you would, if you had a strategy at all, it would be to undermine faith in science by a bunch of cry wolf moments. That's the best you could do. Unless, again, like I said, you're actually releasing a pathogen, in which case it doesn't matter if you believe the tests are real or fake. The real story would be that we are being attacked by some bioweapon. But if we're not, and they just want to scare everybody into staying indoors for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, to what?
Humans. It's preposterous how obvious all of this is. And
well, I will give you it's preposterous, everything you're saying.
I've said they've got to go to prison, not just for the millions that died from the poison shot, the millions that died around the world from lack of medical care. For not getting the shot? So they should go to jail for people who got the shot and for those that did not. Which shot are we talking about? So this same group of criminals can't do this again. The UN documents came out decades ago that they would use the threat of a pandemic to bring in world government and have it 6 feet apart and wear.
Yeah, and it didn't work. Seriously, you just had Biden for 4 fucking years after the pandemic, and we don't have one world government. As a matter of fact, our supply chains are shortening and we are reshoring factories because America is building up our internal base so that we're not reliant on global supply chains like we were before. It did the exact opposite. It undermined the function of the UN. A global pandemic is exactly the opposite of something you want as far as a UN reach, because if you have centralized control over something and they can fuck up that bad, then you don't have each of the individual actors, the different countries, being able to, marshal their best defense against the thing and everybody benefiting from the best version of it. So the one way you would talk everybody out of a one world government is a worldwide pandemic. We're like, well, these motherfuckers.
Mask and forced injection.
When you've got the World Health Organization and the like, this would work back when when we had the Spanish flu or shit like that, when we did not have the UN per se doing these kind of health initiatives.
Quarantine centers, and they've built.
Kosovo detects first Mpox case after man returns from Africa. Kosovo? Kosovo. Where the fuck do you think that is? In Arizona?
Under UN auspices, all.
Kosovo, Kentucky?
These emergency pandemic camps around the world, this is their smokescreen for global totalitarianism to stop the global awakening.
A, how could they? And B, wouldn't it just make people more suspicious to do the exact same fucking thing after the last one failed? Like, I've said before that if you really wanted to kill a bunch of maggots, in mass using a bioweapon, the way you would do it is release a lighter, less lethal disease, let it spread around, like fearmonger about it like fucking crazy until they all go, I don't need a mask, this is bullshit. And then let it fade, and then wait a little while, and then release the A pathogen that kills a lot of people very quickly, and none of these assholes will take any precautions. That's how you do it. It's like switching from Southpaw. You know what I mean? Where you start like looking like a regular Orthodox fighter, when in reality you're a Southpaw, and you just. Everybody's like, hey, that's his big hit. That feels like a jab. That's because it is. Bonk. You know what I mean? Like you switch up. Good Lord.
So we don't just call for saying no to this new hysteria and fear and stopping the new emergencies is declaring.
Also, that's Deborah Birx from fucking the Trump administration. That's old footage. She's not wearing a mask right now, you dumb motherfucker.
Also demand prosecution.
She's also looking a little bagged out. It's been a rough couple of years.
Fauci and the rest of them, and their whole house of cards will collapse. It's us or them.
Yeah, sure it is. Now sell everybody some dick pills or some nonsense. Hold on. 12/30/2024 Monday emergency broadcast. What do you really have to just cover your fucking exits or your crosscuts with this stupid Alex Jones Network logo thing? Yes, we're all very impressed. It's clearly a very serious thing, and it evokes I don't know, a resistance against the aliens. It seems like something that someone would spray paint on the side of a building after the apocalypse. It's Alex Jones Network sounds like a biopic that Kirk Cameron is doing.
It's Monday,
Which is, I mean, you want to talk about dystopia.
December 30th, 2024. We're only 22 days out from the inauguration of President Trump, and right on time, as we predicted, and as the bad guys began.
Sorry, is the dog done shitting? Or are you staying at a friend's place and they're like, look, I'll let you sleep here, but don't do your stupid fucking show here because my wife gets nuts about it. And I don't want my kids hearing that shit. Just, where can I go? Go out in the yard. I can't go stand out in the yard. Can I at least wear a hat? Dude. Do you even bald, bro?
A month ago, they are rolling out the official bird flu hysteria.
I love, without the teleprompter, man, he has a hard time putting these thoughts together. There's a bird thing. We don't know. Snuffleupagus might be involved. We're not sure.
Here's the good news.
Okay, all right. There's a global cabal that is launching disease all over the place. And his argument is don't take any precautions because that falls right into their hands. But here's the good news.
People are way more aware and awake than they were 5 years ago, the last time they rolled out this global disease X in the UN's own admission as a plan to set up their corporate world government and their cashless society.
Well, if that's what the plan was, why didn't they fucking try it at all? At all. Jesus Christ, the closest thing to a cashless society that's tried to be, that somebody's tried to launch in the last, 4 years especially, has been the BRICS crypto shit. I got news for you, motherfucker. Crypto is a cashless society. You can't physically hoard it. If they bomb the servers, it's like burning the fucking bank or setting fire to the pile of money like the Joker did. What the fuck?
Attached to the vaccine passport system.
Oh, yeah, that thing that also happened. Dude, they even shut that shit down in China after a while.
With a social credit score.
That, again, what? So we're all on the hook for whatever China/Russia do, maybe Iran. So whatever they do in our country, that's what America is falling to, even though we're opposing it by supporting Ukraine, I would say largely. And also your buddy Israel, it's by supporting that, we're pushing back on Iran in that same way. But those are the three countries that are really cutting their teeth on, on social credit scores and control of money and all that shit.
And just 2 weeks ago, they tried to pass the pandemic legislation in the big spending bill that mirrored the UN treaty that also failed this year to give them draconian powers for lockdowns, forced injections, forced masking.
Yeah, you can't force mask anybody, and there aren't forced injections in there. There isn't. It wasn't in that bill. You're a fucking idiot. So let me get this straight. Okay. Donald Trump just fought to get Mike Johnson to be the Speaker of the House. And by last I saw, he actually cleared it on the second or third vote because Trump was working the fucking phones for him. And Mike Johnson, you're telling me, who is in charge of whatever gets brought to the floor a bill that echoes UN global takeover language for mask and vaccine mandates. Forcible, meaning they'll hold you fucking down and stick a needle in your forehead. And Mike Johnson brought that bill to the floor. And if he hadn't been called out by you, and Trump, he wouldn't have stopped it. And then they went and passed the fucking thing anyways. The same fucking bill. They stripped like 2 things out of it. And neither of them was any of this stuff. Or maybe, just maybe, was that shit never in there in the first place? That's he's taking a page out of Cenk Uyghur's thing. We made a bunch of noise, so they were gonna do this, but they didn't do it because we made a bunch of noise. Maybe, just maybe, they weren't gonna do it. It was never in there. And you're claiming credit for brooming something out. I'll tell you what, fuck it. There was, when Biden came in the infrastructure bill that he was getting, putting together, I had this thing that they were going to undermine the value of Disneyland by putting a Disneyland in everybody's neighborhood, building a full-scale Disneyland. And I thought that was bad for the business model of Disney. And so I came out against it, and they scuttled it. You can either be mad because there's not a Disneyland, but where would everybody park in your neighborhood, or that, you're not downwind from turkey legs.
A total liability protection for their poison shots. That failed. And they tried lockdowns last year, if you remember.
No, they didn't.
We got ahead of it, and Trump said they're doing this ahead of the election to try to steal it.
Which they never did, and nobody even talked about that. You made it up.
They're going to have mail-in ballots. There was major political, cultural pressure. They had to back off of that.
They didn't. No, it was never there in the first place. You made it up. The lie, the fictitious, future, the dystopian future you were laying out where they were going to control everything never fucking panned out. Even when they had every opportunity. Biden was this big communist who was in league with the fucking Chinese. He was in control of this. He wanted everybody to get mandated shots so they could chip everybody. And it never happened because Alex Jones fought back. Or maybe it never was going to happen. And now you are supporting a guy who wants Elon Musk next to him telling him what to fucking do. And Elon Musk wants fucking an elite colony on Mars away from all you redneck dipshits. And he wants everybody chipped. He wants to chip 2 billion human beings and tie them to the internet psychologically and physically and psychosexually. You're for the brain chip guy now, Alex. Congratulations. I don't know how the fuck that happened, except that it was always going to because you're that dumb.
But this time they are coming in harder than ever.
I feel seen.
If we expose the past fraud and the current fraud that I'm about to lay out, we don't have just a very good chance of stopping this huge psyop. We will stop it, but this is meant to...
Yeah, it's super easy to stop something that never existed in the first fucking place. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but there were... There are hordes of these like demon birds that have been coming up out of a hole in my backyard that would fly out and they want to eat the souls of children and good people all over the country or whatever. And I've literally been standing by that hole night and day, just punching these fucking things in the face, knocking them back. You're welcome, America. They and Biden wanted to help them, but I said nope, and he was like, shit. I would like to say, for the record, my story is every bit as believable as his. And by the way, unlike him, I would actually do that. If there was a big hole full of demons and they were coming up out of there, I'd be knocking them the fuck out. For you, America.
Block not just the American awakening of populism and the Great Awakening, but the global Great Awakening.
Wait, you're a globalist now? Oh, okay, can't be just an American awakening? Now we got to include everybody? Okay, so in the global awakening, diversity is our strength. Is that what you're going to say? We got to include everybody now? Huh? How many genders are included in our Great Awakening?
And the usual suspects are out there pushing the lies. We're about to break it all down.
Kevin Spacey?
Now.
We have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry.
You can see that they're monitoring more than 10,000 exposures, but they've only tested 530. What does that mean? That means we're not testing enough. And we know from other viruses that a lot of the spread can be asymptomatic.
And I think the Biden administration in the remaining days should get testing and vaccines widely available so that at least it empowers state and local health officials and clinicians.
Right. They're all talking about how RFK Jr. is just going to pants America when it comes to being prepared for any kind of an outbreak because he's just going to blow it the fuck off. And a lot of Americans are going to die because of it. And quite frankly, in red states and in red counties in blue states like California, the areas that will be affected in California, let's say if you have a bird flu outbreak, it's going to be all the eastern part of the state.
Do the right thing for their patients.
All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle this.
Deborah Birx, Lena Wynn, Peter Hotez, all the usual suspects right out of Fauci's operation.
Sorry, wouldn't you be like one of the usual suspects of pro-Russian disinfo? I mean, he's been making up shit about the Illuminati or the global elites or the cabal or whatever all this time, that they control everything and run everything and they're going to wipe everybody out. They're going to depopulate the earth. It's been 2.5, 3 fucking decades now. None of it has panned out. None of it. Not a fucking drip. So wouldn't Alex Jones be one of the usual suspects of dipshittery?
Are all over television telling us this new bird flu is here. It could mutate any minute and just destroy us all. But
new pandemic will come crashing down January 21st on Trump administration. Big Pharma shill Peter Hotez warns. Which does he shill for one particular one? Because they all have different handles for it. Also, that's your graphic, not his.
Don't you worry. The Biden administration over the last year has spent hundreds of millions of dollars
saving the lives of Americans who don't give a shit about themselves because you've talked them out of taking normal precautions against contagious disease in a highly pluralistic society with a lot of business and tourism travel all over the world. Places that don't take the same kind of precautions in some cases that we do when we go there, the shots you get when you travel abroad versus the shot you get when you come here, you know, those kind of elements. You wouldn't want to prepare at all. Just free ball it. That's what we're doing. That's governance. That's leadership.
To all these different so-called vaccine makers, including Moderna, with an mRNA experimental gene therapy.
It's not experimental gene therapy.
And a whole bunch of other foreign countries.
Wait, is Deborah Birx fucking a chicken right there? Well, it's a rooster, I guess.
Developing mRNA for the bird flu.
So it's a gay rooster who likes being pegged. I had no idea it went this deep.
And that they're going to have it ready for you. And now we have Birx and Wynn and all the usual suspects saying we need emergency authorization from the FDA right now for these stockpiles of so-called vaccines they've made. There's more.
Did he almost fall down the hill? Wait a second. Watch this. Like he's moving around.
Saying we need emergency authorization from the FDA right now for these stockpiles of so-called vaccines they've made.
Whoa. Sorry.
10 different companies that I just looked up this morning that are doing it.
You just looked them up this morning and you've already made an assessment? You've already assumed that every one of them is part of this global conspiracy to poison everyone, even the people that are there who would themselves be poisoned, and the leadership of those companies, all the middle management people who would obviously not make the cut and don't get to get on the Tesla craft to the colony on Mars.
To then rush these directly untested to the public when the mainline science on its face shows that if
Don't let the vaccine become a luxury. Oh, I see.
you don't have the exact mutation of whatever they say the bird flu is going to mutate into.
it's not going to mutate into, still going to be bird flu. It just mutate in a way that it can be contagious to humans.
The shot
Starts with the birds, and then do these fuckers not?
doesn't just not protect you, but it causes what they call a leaky vaccine.
Yeah, that's what it causes. Do you have problems with leaky vaccine? Often they'll give you a little. I wear a little pad on my arm right here, where you get the shot or whatever, and it keeps you from wetting the bed.
Or accelerated evolution or mutation.
That I would be for. I mean, I'm already more evolved than you are, Alex, but I'll take any head start I can get.
When you give people these different experimental shots, supposedly suppressing those viruses, it then makes them mutate faster. And
The diseases or the people?
scientists and experts and researchers and doctors coming on throughout the week to be talking about that on my show. But you
Fascinating.
just look up leaky vaccines for yourself. It's kind of a non-threatening name. Oh, it's just a leaky vaccine. No, it means it makes new mutations that are worse, which is what they're warning us the bird flu is about to do. This new...
Hey, asshole. You would only have to warn people about the bird flu at all as a human being if it was in danger of mutating. If it can't jump, if there is no fucking way, there's lots of diseases you're not talking about right now, asshole, because they can't jump from whatever animal to a human, because they just don't transport the wrong proteins, all sorts of other reasons. And so you never hear about it because there will never be a danger that disease makes it to humans without going through a myriad of other steps. And it has to be, pangolin fucking flu before it ever gets to us or something. The reason they're talking about it is because bird flu can jump to other animals, and if it jumps to humans, and it has in some cases, this particular strain, it can be very deadly. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking about it. There would be no threat to talk about if it couldn't mutate. That's the only reason they're bringing it up. You wouldn't bring it up if it couldn't mutate.
5, in one and all the rest of this. So any basic science, any basic research of this shows you how crazy it is. We're about to lay out some of the history of these fearmongers, what they're doing now, and how we stop them.
All right, let's find out. How do we stop them? Let me guess. Ray Epps. Is there all the people who said Alex Jones is right about some shit? Whatever.
Tomorrow's news today.
You can't have tomorrow's news today. That means you're making shit up. That would be called bullshit.
The globalist COVID tyrants are making their move again.
That would be you, I guess.
But this time, the people of the world are awake and are standing up against it.
So they're woke, is what you're saying.
The last 5 years of their criminal power grab has already blown up in their face.
Are you just replaying what you've already said? Is this take two?
But they're so desperate, they have no other moves to make and are trying to run the same play again.
Oh, yes, he did this. He's just saying the same shit twice.
This is going to be their Waterloo if we get the facts and raise the alarm to the people of the world now.
Okay. Oh, this was a promo video. I see. Jesus.
Just 2 weeks ago, they tried in the big spending bill.
Okay, he just loops this shit? He does, yeah. This is just a loop. And then there's an ad. Sorry, this part I don't remember seeing.
It is on record that it causes not just the virus they're targeting, but
hold on.
Total frauds
in New York State.
Vaccine-driven viral evolution, or the common term, leaky vaccine. That's the most important point.
By studying chickens, researchers say they have proven theory that more virulent viruses can evolve from so-called can evolve from so-called leaky vaccines. Infowars Health News. The source being just you. Okay.
That they use these viruses to take full.
PLOS biology. Imperfect vaccination can enhance the transmission of highly virulent pathogens. Could some vaccines drive the evolution more virulent than conventional wisdom? Is it naturally going to remove highly lethal pathogens if host death greatly reduces the transmission? Vaccines that keep hosts alive but still allow transmission could thus be correlated to virulence genes to circulate in the population. I see. So we should just let people who catch the disease die. Brilliant. By the way, published July 27, 2015. You really don't think, like, everybody has the power to, like, freeze frame on this, Alex, you dumbass?
Even more important than them being caught in all these previous lies and being total frauds, their own documents coming out, not just here, but around the world.
Their own documents coming out, like, New York Times. Yeah, it's like, this is from the secret New York Times files, or is it from the published medical journal page that you just put up? All the secret shit from 2015?
Agencies coordinating to hype, fear, lie to the public, not treat people sick from other viruses so they die.
Bird flu samples from very ill patient had concerning mutations. Tiny genetic alterations could help the bird flu virus enter cells in the upper respiratory tract, the CDC said. There's no sign that mutations are widespread in nature. Yeah, this person who got sick from it got a strain that was particularly bad. That's why they were very ill. A colorized electron microscope image of avian influenza H5N1 virus particles shown in yellow. And then there's a picture. He cut the picture out.
Numbers. That's all key.
First human cases of H5N8 bird flu reported in Russia. Oh, great. The Russians are in on it now. So there's a Russian hoax as well. Does Putin know this? Have you called him?
Most important is the fact that you give people during the big virus season, during winter, a bunch of experimental shots. It is on record that it causes not just the virus they're targeting, but many other coronaviruses, flu viruses, you name it, to be put under pressure in the
predictive evolutionary modeling for influenza virus by site-based dynamics of mutations. No, this is not the same thing, asshole. This is how you chase down mutations. This is how you determine mutations, and you see which ones will be more successful, so that you know when you put together a vaccine, you know which one you're targeting. Predictive evolutionary modeling. They're not doing predictive evolution like they're working on it. Like this is another version of gain of function, fuckwad.
And then that causes these dangerous mutations, which they're telling us is about to happen and make it jump into humans even easier. So why would you then have 10 companies in the U.S., dozens around the world, so many I can't even count them all coming out with their own bird flu shots?
Because there are different strains. Did you just not see the different strain, the H5N8 or whatever in Russia is different from the H5N1 here? And therefore you would need a different vaccine just like you get a new flu shot every year? That's why?
Having no idea what it's about to mutate into unless they already have it on the shelf at these bioweapon labs like EcoHealth Alliance and others, so that when the new variant shows up, don't worry, they've already got the so-called vaccine on the shelf. This is really important information.
Yeah. But not from you. Again, was that supposed to be a secret video that Bill Gates put out where he's using little like wooden people and a breakout of the virus to explain why people should get vaccinated because they had to coax people into doing it because no one was forced to take the fucking thing. So they had to talk everyone into it. So there's plenty of video of people on the news, on podcasts, and putting out their own videos about why you should get vaccinated and why it's better for you. If there was any kind of forced system globally or nationally, they wouldn't have to do that shit at all. Or we'd have like old-fashioned 40s style patriot propaganda. Get your shot for America.
We've got scientists, doctors, researchers coming on today and throughout the week on my show. Follow us at Real Alex Jones as we break this down. But it's really important to attack the credibility of these people and to point out the science. Science is about asking questions, not about Fauci saying, I am the science. Don't ask questions. This is a globalist eugenics death cult led by Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab.
Well, then they suck. Klaus Schwab just lost his job. That rhymes. Sorry about that. I did not mean that to happen. So I guess it was another failed attempt. And also post-COVID, we haven't turned into zombies yet. Weren't we supposed to turn into zombies? Right? Did we miss it? Son of a bitch.
To depopulate the earth and wants full control over our bodies. This is an existential threat to everyone.
Yeah, not the guy who's friends with Trump who wants to put a chip in everybody's brain. It's Bill Gates who wants everybody to get a fucking shot against a virus.
And these criminals must go down before they release the next manufactured virus.
What do you mean go down? Yeah, I mean, obviously they've been working on this for a long time. It's part of a global strategy. What if they have a failsafe? What if they have a second virus that if you fuck with them, they promise to release that one that everybody goes with it, and they are the only ones with a vaccine, and they've already been inoculated against it. Because again, I would say, just follow me on this as a plot. And chat room, please check me on this. If let's just say, chat room, you were trying to come up with a system by which you could wipe out most of the population, and your scheme for doing it was a contagious disease and a vaccine. If you were going to choose one of those things to be the primary killer, wouldn't you rather just manufacture a disease that's very dangerous that you already have a vaccine to, so you can take it and you and your family and your friends will all be fine, rather than kill people with the vaccine, which takes a lot more work to get needles in arms and stuff? When you create just a highly contagious disease that wiped everybody out? Isn't that what you would do? I mean, if you really had a plot. Right? Why would you even talk about it, is my thing. I think you could just kind of like come up with a bioweapon that's really contagious, airborne. You could release it all over the place, little vials of it. Nobody knows what it is. Can't even check for it. Walk around just dropping pay people to drop little vials of it in subways and hospitals everywhere. Something it'll just cascade across everywhere, all over the world, about the same time. Shit, if you're that rich, you could just drop vials out of an airplane and just let them fall over, major population areas. In matters of weeks, it would spread. But you and all the elites have all had the vaccine, so you're not going to get sick from it. Wouldn't that be the more efficient way? And you wouldn't even have to say anything. You wouldn't even have to go, everybody get your shot, and I'll show you why. I'm talking you into the fucking cattle chute so I can hit you in the head with a fucking hammer. You would just go, God, that's terrible. Look at that thing spread. Anybody want a ham sandwich? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do it that way? Why would you fucking bother? I mean, I don't want to give these assholes any pointers, but for fuck's sake, your obvious plan would be create a giant disease that is very easily spread, airborne, that you can directly create because it's manufactured. Vaccine for you and all your elite friends take the vaccine, and then you spread it, and then in a matter of months, problem fucking solved. And then I guess weeks later, after the smell has died down, your robot army starts, bulldozing the bodies into fucking mass graves, and then you're like, look at all this elbow room, right? Why would you have a plan that requires a needle in everyone's arm? It's like saying, all right, I got this plan. We're going to shoot everybody except the 144,000 that me and my friends and people that are supposed to be saved in the Bible. We're going to shoot everybody. Okay, so first thing we need is 8 billion bullets and then some snipers that we can kill later. Why? This just makes no sense to me at all. Like and by the way, if this is the plan of the global cabal, then I'm not worried because apparently they're fucking morons. There might have been a global elite like Alex Jones is talking about, but they all died in their fucking barn making a special virus that they were going to kill us with. But they were like, wait a minute, is that the blue syringe or the red syringe? Why? Motherfucker, right? This is so stupid. I don't know why this, like, the logic dies so fucking fast. Does that make sense, chat room? Is it just me? Hold on, I'm going to bring up the chat room where I can read what you guys are saying, because it's a little small on my screen right there. Yeah, dumbest cabal ever. Thank you, Stargal. It's not just me. First, they have to create a system number that geometrists and Q holes can identify as the second coming prior to unleashing any plot, because exactly, right? They got to give all these fucking clues. They don't kill the people who are in on it that give it away, that tell Alex Jones. Those fucking people can make it home, like their planes don't go down. Alex Jones has been on plenty of like private and public flights over the years. He's still alive. Maybe he's just full of shit. Does Alex really believe this crap? I can't see how he could. I really don't. I think I hear a great pitch for a primetime cartoon series. I think you're right. It is just, yeah, VJ Kodak, it makes no sense. I don't even know, like, just from a tactical standpoint, it's they're arguing that this global cabal that controls everything is choosing the lamest fucking tactics every time. It makes no sense to me. Why would you do it that way? Also, why would you even need a virus to do it? Couldn't you just put something, like, talk about like processed food and all this stuff? You could just softly kill everybody with diabetes. That could be the argument. But then Alex would have to argue against eating better and fitness, something he clearly does not believe in and does not participate in. Right? And again, let's say you're the elite and you can't kill everybody. You know, it's just impractical. Some people are going to survive the disease, but also you're going to need some people, you know, the middle management, the help. You can't, 144,000 people can't clean up the mess after 8 billion deaths. Somebody's going to have to organize this shit, and somebody's going to have to drive the bulldozer. Now, we may build robots to do the bulldozer part, but you're going to need some middle management people to organize and get this all together. So you can't kill all of them. So you're going to have to give them, immunity as well. So if you were going to convince people, if you're going to go, hey, we're going to need some of these people alive all over the world, wouldn't you just make the case to the people who are sensible, who want to participate in a functioning society? Those would be the keepers. The people who are willing to take the shot are the people that you would go, oh, okay, that person won't be a pain in the ass. Why would you create a system where only people who like behave and participate die, and all the asshole wranglers like Alex Jones who don't want to participate in anything are complete pricks and just like problems every time you turn around? Why would you want them to survive, but people who are like, oh, I like to raise my kids healthy? Like, why would you want those people to die if you had a choice? As far as your middle management humans, you need alive at least for another couple of decades until you build your super mansions in the fucking mountains of Denver or wherever the fuck Ayn Rand plan you're going to run. None of this makes sense to me. What is this? You have to extrapolate some of this planning out to fucking something. Right? It has to have some logical base. And maybe that's why conspiracy theories are so good. People are so busy digging in the past, they can't look forward to where the conspiracy theory would go. If you take them ad infinitum or ad absurdum to their logical conclusion, if the plan is true and the past is true that led to this plan and what they're going to do, then, okay, how does what you're saying they're going to do benefit them? For real, how would they see it as beneficial? And again, why would you just let maggots like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Alex Jones and they're like survive because they were smart enough not to get the jab, and then kill all the people who are like just team players? It's just so fucking dumb. It's so weird.